Asteroid of fear.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast, and it is Unfiltered Friday, where we're leaving everything uncut, and we're going to go deeper than any corner in the office and higher than any floor I could have ever been on if I'd stayed in corporate. That's right. So, welcome. Thank you for spending your time with me. Yes, the one commodity we can't get more of, unless you're Magic Johnson. And yeah, it's like having a bank account where you can't see the balance. You never know when it's going to hit zero, and we spend away. Yeah, doing dumb shit sometimes. Other times doing meaningful stuff, perhaps like sharing our time together here, listening to this episode. Yeah, but speaking of, I'm going to use it to kick off the week's plans and what's going on. So, what's going on this Unfiltered Friday? What has been happening? Well, I can tell you what just happened. Uh, I'm trying to correct sleep, hormones, and all kinds of stuff, and I am on TRT. And today was injection day. My lovely wife, I'm going to throw the needles into the Coke bottle, the sharps container, and when I look at the syringe, there's like still half a dose in there, and I'm like, uh. And she's like, well, I was pushing hard and I didn't want to push too hard. And I go, well, you didn't want to push too hard. Now we have to do it twice. So I got a band aid on each ass cheek right now. They're Reese's band aids. Yep. Reese's Pieces. Yeah. When you have kids, you have tons of band aids, all kinds. Feel like even though it wasn't necessary, my daughter would like buy band aids, maybe obsessed with band aids, like designer band aids. You go to like Dollar Tree and they got all kinds um, from camo and characters. And so, yeah, it was always like, a dollar box here, a dollar box there, and we combine them. And you need all sizes. Let's face it, when you got kids. Um, oh, plus our time taken care of with Buck. Yeah, kids and old people, you need band aids. But I gotta quit saying that word. Um, that one too. Yeah. So we are gearing up to head out on family vacation. That's right. Maybe I'll tell you about it afterwards. I want to tell everybody where I'm going. But we're going somewhere we've never been before. Airbnb. You might have heard that fiasco, my troubles with them. And yeah, I'm excited. So initially, I wasn't very excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm into self improvement, self development. So, downtime, sometimes it seems hard, but it actually is because you feel like you could be home working. If there's always a choice of, usually I'm in the camp of stay at home and work. And because I've pissed away enough time, fucked off enough time that I don't need to fuck off any more time. So yeah, vacation is not high on the list of things I like to do, um, because it is the opposite of productivity. Yeah. Um, and therefore, two was I wasn't super happy with Airbnb and those issues, dicking around with them. So there was a part of me that was like, I don't even want to fucking take this vacation. Can't say it too loud. Wife's in the other room. But I told her, I mean, when I feel like I could be doing something else that's kind of productive, then it's hard because, yeah, I'm going to have to reschedule some interviews. I'm not going to take the rig with me. And so, more of a mental state is where it impacts me. Is if, like, I don't explain this to my wife, this concept, then, I might come off as like, oh, he doesn't want to be here, um, which is not true. I just have trouble relaxing a bit. But I kind of had this aha moment today of I need a little reset, and this is going to be said reset. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, disconnecting a bit, if you will, um, which I have been kind of disconnected the past couple weeks. So if we go back a couple weeks, it was like felt like I had a little episode where I was melting down. I know I had one about October. Um, yeah, I track them. I track the meltdowns, if you will. And yeah, after this one, I was like, some shit's got to change. It's like with all the weight loss, all this kind of stuff, getting off 9 medications down to one. It's like you got a new baseline. And, like I said before, I've been tracking kind of these low points I hit, how often they come, and whatnot. And, it was time to see the doc. Say, hey, you know, there is there's a possibility of a true chemical imbalance. I mean, I have family members that are bipolar, and that shit, I think it's hereditary. And if not, I'm certain somebody in the comments can correct me. But, when you have family members like that close to you and you have your little spells or episodes, I call them, um, yeah, it's worth investigating. And, you know, the hardest part of it, as you can probably hear it in my voice, is, it's that admission to self of, hey, there might be something actually a little off, um, that's beyond my control chemically. And so, yeah, I went and saw the doc, um, trying out a head med, low dose, of course, and signed up for some therapy. Had a kind of intro session, and I'll have my first real session this week. And so, you take all those kind of factors combined. Airbnb wasn't doing anything positive for it, that whole fiasco. And, I'm like going into the second week of the meds, and these meds, they take 3, 4, 5 weeks, 6 weeks to build up in your system. And so, as we approach the end of week 2 and head into week 3, I'm seeing this trip now kind of as a little control alt delete, little reset. And yeah, I might do some editing. Like, I'm going to take the laptop and stuff. I'm just not taking Scarlett over here. or any mics or ring stands or anything like that. But I will do some editing and other stuff. I said I need to be working on building the community, but I'm not going to have any interviews. And that's going to give me a little bit of time to reset. I've had to cancel a few. I apologize if you were the one of the cancellations, but starting this new medicine, it's given me all kinds of feelings and um, yeah, doing things to my body, making me tired. And part of me is just tired anyway. So I've been doing a lot of sleep and, you know, three generations of the women in my life went to the DFW Metroplex last week for a little shopping, a little back to school. And so daddy had a little downtime and got to sleep, rest, relax, didn't cook. I just slept a lot. And that's the thing is, if I can, then I have to take advantage of it because I'm not a great sleeper. And yeah, kind of forgot where I was going with that. But basically, yeah, 3 weeks ago, meltdown, had meds, therapy, did a bunch of podcasts, which were difficult. Some of it, man, it was just taking everything I had just to fucking make it through the day. It seemed like some days as this med kicks in and, my body was shot and, tracking with Whoop, I had like 9 red recovery days. And I finally got a green one on the 10th day, but that was my first green recovery in like 20 something days. So, not good. Um, so yeah, I felt like my body was kind of trashed. It was, let's see, it's kind of like had meltdown, had labs were slightly off, and could feel it. You look at the numbers and then you're like, man, I feel like shit. And yeah, I could feel that. And so started working to correct that. And kind of sleep consistency has been a big thing because mine would be like 3 or 4, for days and days. And then like I might get 11 hours one day, but then that screws me up, kicks me off. And, the next day I'm back to like 1 hour. And so I'm really trying to stay like 6 and above. Although I had a 4 last night, a 5 one other day, but I'm staying pretty good, like shrinking the hours needed versus hours gotten, if you look at a Whoop chart, but narrowing that gap to keep it more consistent and sustainable. And yeah, it's kind of been working somewhat. Makes a little bit of difference in how I feel. But, I am still tired and unable to sleep uh, sometimes. It's like when I'm tired and I can sleep, I'm don't have the availability. And then when I am asleep or dozing off in a good place, um, somebody close to me, could be my wife or my dad, will say something and wake me up. If it's that kind of like natural, just pass out. See, yeah, that's what I've been battling. Head meds, sleep, hormones, all of it combined. They're all related. All of it's connected. And I'm hoping that will lead to me not losing my cool. And it's working, actually, I know. Because I've had a couple of instances in my Uber adventures of whether it's traffic and you're like, mother effer, just get out of the way, go already. Come on, mouth breather, get off your phone, pay attention to the light. Um, shouldn't take that long for it to fucking register that the light's green. Yeah, normally I would get that voice in my head, and sometimes it comes out verbally in the car with some animation, if you will. And yeah, I've actually noticed that not going on. Um, I had an instance with someone, I feel like, at a register, something that would normally irritate me. I just kind of like brushed it off and I was like, oh, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Or is it that you don't have to make that big of a deal out of it? Either way, if it saves somebody's ears a beating and my emotions, then good. I'll take it. Any victory. But yeah, we're going to reset on this little trip here. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to edit. I'm going to work on the community. I'm going to journal. I'm going to a book. That's what I need. I need to take a good book. Any recommendations? Although this will be over by the time uh, I will have already launched into action by the time you're able to reply. But yeah, I'm going to take a good book. Of course, I have audiobooks, podcasts, and just going to enjoy. Speaking of which, part of the process of me kind of weaving myself back on track into the podcast scheduling game and the other again, I lost. Oh, yeah, there we go. Staying off socials. So yeah, I schedule all my clips. I'll do them kind of all at once, batch them up, put them out. That way, yeah, I don't have to wake up and do that daily. And so I've really kind of the post and ghost theme. I've not been perusing socials as much. Kind of been staying off, and it's been good. Yeah, been focusing on it's like get your workout in, do your thing, stay off socials. They're depressing. Oh yeah, 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 man. Was it Hulk Hogan died today? Because it's actually Thursday when I'm recording. Who else? Somebody just passed away. And yeah, it's a bummer. Let's Google who passed away this week. Ozzy Osbourne. There we go. Oh shit. And Malcolm Jamal Warner. Fucking Theo. Theo Huxtable, man. Hulk Hogan and Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness. Fun fact. And one of the nurses used to work for me. Aaron, thank you for posting it. Ozzy Osbourne was banned from coming to Tyler, Texas, where I live. Um, because this was a very conservative community at that time in the 80s, and Ozzy Osbourne was satanic. Oh, so they thought. And yeah, they had a protest and they banned the shit out of them. I was a kid. I was like 8 years old, probably nine. I didn't really understand it. Well, you got to remember to put things in context. These are the years during Halloween that they would pass out like publications for the kids to read, maybe to take home to your parents, talking about razor blades and apples and all kinds of crazy shit. Has anybody ever seen how do you get a razor blade and an apple? Come on. What the fuck? Really? Yeah. So they banned the shit out of him. He was satanic. And now they're probably paying tribute to him. Fucking suckers, hypocrites. Oh, man. Religion is for people who need religion. This is a very religious town. You can imagine it needs some religion. Maybe all the people here are in need. Hmm. Yeah, so those three, man. Three huge ones, especially as a Gen Xer, man. Theo Huxtable. I love The Cosby Show. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. You make all the fucking arguments you want. It's like Chick fil A had their whole deal and people banned and boycotted that. And I was like, I don't go there for my politics or religion. I go there because they make a good chicken sandwich. You know, The Cosby Show. Yeah, it's got his name outside of him as a human. I thought the show was great. And there's very special times of, my wife and I working nights that I specifically remember. And when we would have nights off together, we'd be up all night, about 2 or 3 in the morning when she was pregnant with our youngest. I can remember being up and watching a lot of Cosby Show. I know, like, there was a stint, my daughter and I too. Um, so I don't know if this one was in there, but The King of Queens and Everybody Loves Raymond, they would all come on like together, like that same channel. But yeah, a lot of Cosby Show. Man, and he was like in his 50s. And Hulk Hogan was only 71. I mean, my dad's older than that. Ozzy wasn't much older than my dad, a couple years, but it's scary for me because my dad has Parkinson's, as did Ozzy. My dad's dad, Uncle Short, my grandpa Shorty, um, he had Parkinson's. So thank you. That's what I get to look forward to, potentially. While I'm out here doing everything I can, hitting up the creatine, because we have the Alzheimer's on the other side. And yeah, I don't know. I've just, this week, past couple of weeks, I don't know who, what. Ooh, see the reflection of my new on clouds and the laptop there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. For all the listeners, looks next to the venison sticker. Venison, what's up? I road trip to venison. Jared. Yeah, again with the train. Oh yeah, Buck. I've been listening, watching a lot of podcasts on YouTube. So you're getting clips, news, you got Epstein, all this shit. But that's not the important part. It's I started taking care of Buck in October. October 12th. It's the day we busted him out of rehab. My wife, my daughter, my mom were somewhere. It was Columbus Day weekend, so there was no school. They went out of town. We busted them out. Heavy election coverage. So, Buck, huge Fox News guy. So, I had to watch a lot of Fox News. Watch the election, and it was interesting talking to Buck, talking about growing up in a Democratic household and how Eisenhower shifted views and his family kind of switched from being Democrats to Republican. And you have to remember these times. He was born in 1927. And so his views, they come from a specific era. His parents living through the Great Depression. But, him kind of telling me, hey, ah, well, I know what he was worried, like him being worried about like AI, of course. Essentially, I miss him. I miss the conversations. I wish he was here to guide me on some things. I truly do. I wish he was here to guide me on the way of the world. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I mean, you just look at the state and you're like, holy fuck, man. I know a lot of times I would ask him stuff and he'd be like, well, he had a Bible, like this kind of special Bible on this end table. And he'd be like, go read Revelations. He kind of spoke in parables. I ask him a question and some more questions. Uh, but yeah, he'd have me read the Bible, read Revelations, and I used to always think like, is he making the reference to like the end of the world, or is it like a personal reference? Like you get sick, you get old, you get injured, things happen, and each time you have like a rock bottom and you have to build yourself back up. It's almost like a revelation. It's a struggle, and struggle never ends. So it's like, for me, I was kind of making this association of, is the revelation like this is his last struggle, before he passed. But of course, at that time, we weren't thinking about that wasn't the alternative. We were working to get better. And so sometimes I never knew what he was, oh, scratching over here, what he was referencing when he would talk about that. And, but you just look at what's going on in the world. It's, I don't think I would be crazy to say that some of the shit looks like the end. Ugh, it's not something I really want to think about a lot and have children, unless you're thinking of it from a point of, yeah, I'm a Christian and it's going to be delightful not to worry. Hmm. Yeah, a little real time revelation there. If your relationship with God is right, then what are you worried about? Because here lately, I've been asking myself, it's like, man, you have, stuff. You're going to see more of what you put your attention to or what you look for, you'll find. I guess so. If I'm sitting here putting my attention at news, be it Epstein, the end of the world, all that, then that's what I'm going to see more of, right? Is that the way it works? Or do you put your kind of head down, put it in your lane? We just go straight up men of the house, wife, kids, family, small circle, ignore, blinders. Is that the answer? Because, I mean, that stuff's going to happen either way, whether I concern myself with it or not. The whole Gaza and all that. It's happening whether I concern myself with it or not. But yeah, it is concerning to look at all of it, to look at humanity or lack thereof. It's hard to ignore, but you can also, you got to put your head down. Do you make your difference to the people around you? If every gift you have is about bringing glory to God and spreading the message, telling other people, then I guess you put your head down and you do the work with the gifts you've been given. And yeah, when God says it's time, it's time. When it's the end, it's like, how do you, yeah, I don't know. Suppose heaven would be quite the same. You're still the person you are, a person of service, kindness, compassion, your values. I guess, I don't know. This is why I miss Buck. This is why I wish he was here. Wish he was here to guide me through these conversations, through these thoughts. Because, man, mm, he had some interesting concepts, these conversations. There's a university here, Laterno University, and I guess the gentleman who started it, something Laterno, uh, he used to, he built up his business so big that he could give 90% of his income away and live off 10%. And that's what Buck was always trying to achieve. He said he never got there, but he did quite well. So I was thinking about that. And, that's something to aspire to. But yeah, and that kind of, I don't know, led into thoughts of these weird thoughts of, as I'm trying to figure out, I've always been a people pleaser. Try to figure out who am I trying to please. Well, I think every little boy wants their please their father at some point. I think I did that, and then as a boy or man, you also have to have that thing with your father where you're like, no, I know what's best for me, and kick rocks. I think every man has to have that with their father at some point. And then there's the mother. which is a little bit different. Boys, how we view our moms. The expectations. Because I had this thing of, had this weird thought last night as I was laying down of kind of, let's say it had to do with like achievement, but it was this thought and concept around why am I hard on myself? I was trying to figure out if the perfectionism was projected onto me by parents or self. Can we self project like or have expectations of excellence, even though nobody else has projected that onto us? And why, if that makes sense? You know, as a parent, you're like, no, I don't expect my kids to be perfect. I just want them to do their best and know that I love them. So if I take that same premise and apply that to me from my parents' point of view, then of course they wouldn't expect me to be perfect. And of course they're going to push me to do things that I'm gifted towards or I don't know, that have benefit. But where in the part where I fail or don't do good enough, where that how you come down hard on yourself for that because you didn't do it well enough. If your parents didn't tell you and they don't expect that of you, how do we get to expect it from ourselves? I guess is the question. Nobody ever sat me down and said, "Oh, I expect excellence. Anything less than is unacceptable." But it's almost like I would say that to myself. Where did I get it? Was it from a parent? Was it from being interested in military movies and watching them? Yeah, I don't know. But it's quite the interesting, as we have these moments and we figure things out and you're like, well, because I said you have to have that moment as a man where you tell your father, your parents, whoever, I I want to do what I want to do. I want to choose what I think is best for me. I don't want for you guys to choose, and I don't want to do what you guys think is best for me. And when I look back on that and I think about kind of that boundary and setting that boundary and what that's supposed to do, and as I work to fix myself, I had to ask if they never asked for the excellence, where did it come from? And why do I get so bummed when I'm not excellent? Come down so hard on myself. I mean, it's like one thing, I guess, if you're in a training environment and they expect that, like a competitive type of thing. But when you do it to yourself from a young age, where does that expectation come from? Who set that expectation? Yeah. when I saw life of, oftentimes, like me, I have trouble working normal jobs that don't tap into my sense of purpose. And so I always thought like I had to do something extraordinary, be something extraordinary, like in the military, because my identity and purpose were very much attached. And so I would look and, like whether it was a desk job or even just like a corporate CEO, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's seems boring or too normal or just, I don't know. It seems attainable. Like for me, it's never been a question of, can I do it? I've often thought I can for many things, but will it be worth it? And do I really want to do it? And do you want to take all the bad parts that come with the good parts? You know? So I've often asked that question. And I'm not trying to be unkind when I say like normal job. That's just kind of how I referred to that as a child. Like I looked at like, oh, I think I wanted to be in the military and then probably go into a federal agency or something. Those were kind of like my childhood dreams, which seemed exciting. And so yeah, you look at the other stuff and go, no, like that wasn't going to do it for me. Was it the adrenaline? Was it the camaraderie? What part of it was not normal that attracted me? I think maybe it's lifestyle. Like, I always looked at stuff like musicians, um, military, stuff like that. Move fast, pack light, move fast. Um, and what those roles represented to the person, like perhaps it was their purpose. Yeah, I'm trying to dissect this all and figure myself out, if that makes sense. To figure out what drove me or what continues to. There's nobody telling me like you have to be excellent. I mean, of course, I think with anything you do, it's a point of self-respect and self-pride that I want to do excellent in everything I do. Um, could it just be that? Is that where it came from? But the flaw in that thinking is, hey, that you would have to be doing something so extraordinary not to be bored or not have purpose or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, yeah, flawed childhood thinking, I guess, if you will. It's funny. And I have to admit this openly because, mm, yeah, when I talk about growing up in a very conservative place and I didn't like kind of the hypocrisy a little bit because it wasn't about how things, to me, it was about how things were versus not how they looked. But it was like I left here and then kind of went off the deep end a little and got myself in some karmic and spiritual trouble there, and you know, don't ever think I'm knocking or where I come from or the people because I left. It turned out I was worse. You know, so yeah. I mean, I didn't do all the stuff in high school. I didn't participate. But yeah, it's not about less than, more than. Yeah, as you look at this, you figure out it's like there's more equal to. We all make the same dumbass mistakes in different ways. But that's why we sit here and we hash it out and we try to figure this stuff out and become aware, become aware of yourself. Um, because essentially what I am trying to do is I am trying. Yeah, if I've always been a people pleaser, I have to go, who am I trying to please now? And why? And really, the person I should be trying to please is me. And that's always been my struggle is, you know, yeah, you love your parents. Yes, you want to listen to their advice. Was I able to have that with my dad? No. Because I was like, am I secretly trying to please my mom? I don't think so. Because, I mean, back in the day, like, for her, me just not shipping off would have made her happy. She's like, I don't care. I just prefer you stay close to home. That's what she wanted. But she doesn't verbalize, she doesn't talk. She talks well to other people. She's a translator and communicator in a professional setting. Uh, Sometimes within family, not so much. But we all know how that goes. Family is weird. But yeah, I don't think I have any reason to try to please her other than maybe showing her that I got a master's and got laid off. Just like she got laid off 25 years. She'd been there 25 years, same company, same place I was born. Um, and I can remember always how I felt about that, feeling like it was just so wrong. But, she went back. I ended up there and I reapplied back. And so I don't know if is my showing her, trying to make this is like, hey, ma, the practical route wasn't safe. So I just need to be me. And you got to respect that. Maybe I want to make her proud. 100%. I don't know of any son or daughter who doesn't want to make their parents proud. But, kind of what I'm getting at is I have done so much for so many for a long time. And I can actually do for me what I want. I got the love and support. I got the intelligence. Um, but yeah, Sometimes there's self trust issues because, hey, you haven't been trusting your decisions because you haven't made them. You've been following other people's decisions, fool. Yeah, of course you're going to have self trust issues, mofo. Yeah, that's one of the things I got to hash out. And then just, being able to self validate. I always felt uncomfortable getting validation from others. So that's fine. But, it's really about trying to be friendlier with myself, whatever they call it, like your little self, your shadow person. I don't know. I have to look into these terms more. Essentially, I need to be a better friend to myself. And maybe that's where I came up with all these excellence questions. Who imposed excellence on me? Or did I just do it to myself? And where is it coming from? And why? And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have an extraordinary life. As a matter of fact, most of the magic in life is in that quote unquote normalcy. The favorite parts of my day are the moments in between when you're just sitting with the people you love, doing nothing. That's the best. It's like real love. When you're with that person that you love, you say you're going to be with forever, just being kind of snarky because everybody's been in love and then they fucking run. When it gets tough, it's fucking hard to work through shit. But yeah, when you're in that level of love, it's like doesn't matter what you do, just being with the person. And to me, it's like that's where life happens. And those little moments, they don't matter if they're in a mansion, a one bedroom, a car, the side of a road. Yeah, a lot of the things we think are relevant to the meaning and fulfillment of life really aren't. We kind of miss out on the other stuff. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to balance or show my mom too. Um, but there's a whole mindset thing. It's like, I don't know, I might be the first one with a graduate degree in the family. Um, yeah, my mom talks about when they moved up here from San Antonio, it's like they were still using an outhouse, didn't wear shoes. So she was, they didn't speak English. And so when they came here, it was a lot about assimilation. And so, of course, there's this push to do corporate type shit. My grandfather retired from the city, but it's that assimilation, that integration, and that stability was her motivation. But see, my vision and my voice is much bigger. I wasn't thinking stability here local. I was thinking bigger, global. Um, yeah, there weren't a lot of brown people when they arrived, hence the assimilation. And some of the corporations I worked for before, they don't let a lot of brown people in the inner circle. But, that's what I'm here to do for my family is I'm bringing the brown to town. That's right. That's right. We need to throw a little throw a little shade in the mix here. Um, and put our family on the map. Be the reason our family name means something. And not just my last name I hold, but also my grandparents' name, my mom's name. That's my job. That's what I think of, you know. So, of course, we have a little conflict. Am I delusional? Maybe. Steve Jobs delusional? Maybe. Remains to be seen. But we'll see what comes out of it as I'm on my week vacation. But remember, Unfiltered Friday, it's free till Monday, then it goes behind the vault. But have no fear, you can access the vault for $5 a month. And guess what? Not even US. I'll take Bitcoin, pesetas, whatever you got. I'll take it. As long as Buzzsprout accept it. So yeah, make sure you get a listen in. Tell your friends and family about it. And interviews on Monday. Got some good ones coming up. Super excited. Really excited. The next, man, had some good ones. Yeah. The only thing I'm not excited about is the editing. Not even excited about. I'm really have to edit this one, but still got to upload it and all that bullshit. Like any job, there's parts of it. If you want to do the good part, you got to do the bad part too. Kind of blows, but it is what it is. So, hmm. Let's see if we can. No, no, no. Let's see if we. Right. Let's see. How do we want to sign off today? Mm, 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 mm. Hmm. No chance. Hmm. Makes me think when we do book club on Saturdays, if you're not a part of it, Next Level University Book Club, Alan does this thing. Uh, when he does like snarky people, or yeah, the nose turned up kind of people, country club people. They're not all like that. Just to FYI, and I don't believe they're all like that. So if you go to a country club and you're not an asshole, don't get all assholey about it. I'm not talking about you, but you know the person I am talking about, right? All right. Well, here we are, opening the conversation on some hard topics. But that's what we do over here. Like I said, we're going far beyond the corner office and higher than any floor. So until next time, go out and be the person that you want to meet. And if you want honesty, lead with truth. Peace.
Asteroid of